What's going on, guys? This is Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ back in for another great episode. In today's episode, we are talking about Dynasty tight end targets, people. These guys that I have on this list, it's only 3 of them, not too many. Not going to drag it out and be like a 35, 45-minute video, but 3 guys that I think you need to target in Dynasty right now because you need to hit while it's hot. They're going into year 3, and we all know it only takes 3 years for a tight end to possibly make that journey to pop off or just be a dud. But I think these 3 guys are going to pop off. So I don't want to waste any more time. So let's get right into the episode. So let's start off with the most expensive tight end target. He is going to be going, as the 4th or 5th tight end off the board, and that is TJ Hock. But what's going on now, some people are scared. Just doing a little temperature check on, the TJ Hock owners or the TJ Hock, fans that are thinking about picking him up. They're a little wishy-washy. There's different opinions about how TJ Hock is going to be this season, with Kenny Galladay gone, with Marvin Jones gone. But how I look at it is he's going into year 3, finished tight end 5. I think he could finish tight end 5 again. Now, I only think he could finish tight end 5 again is because, one, who is the wide receiver core? There's nobody there. So he's liable to see 100-plus targets again. Now, there's people who are saying, well, 5 might be a little too high because you got to factor in Kittle. I am factoring Kittle into that ranking. So I think he could finish tight end 5 again this year with over 100 targets. Now, I'm not too really worried about Jared Goff. I think Lynn is going to be, great with that offense, trying to keep the ball out of Jared Goff's hands as long as possible. If he can hand it off or dump it off, to Swift, that offense will be moving. That gives, Hock more opportunity to open up the middle, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I think Jared Goff is still a good quarterback. He is a serviceable quarterback. He just isn't a Sean McVay wanting to win it all quarterback. He is a serviceable quarterback. There's been plenty of Rams games where, I cheered for Jared Goff saying, yeah, that was a good play. That was an amazing throw. I even defended him. So that was just, a little small blip in my life of defending Jared Goff, which sounds crazy. But this last season, I couldn't defend him, man. I saw no heart. I saw, weakness. I saw just bad football IQ. That's just basically what it came down to. But anyway, talking about TJ Hock. So I think he's in a good and bad situation, being that I'm not too worried if they do go to the draft or they acquire some more wide receivers from free agency. There's nobody there that will have me scared about, TJ Hock's production. So the volume is going to be there for TJ Hock. So like I said, he'll probably be the most expensive guy that you'll probably get. He'll probably be the 4th or 5th tight end off the board, but I'm saying you got to target him, man. This year 3 breakout is going to be amazing for you guys, and you're going to get your bang for your buck as long as he stays healthy. Next up, I got Noah Fant, man. This is weird. This is weird that I'm telling you to target him, being that we've seen how bad Drew Lock was. Now, Fant finished tight end 8. I think he could finish tight end 8 again. No really change in rankings there. I really think he can finish, as a top 10 tight end again. I think there's some areas that we need to pinpoint when we talk about Fant, even though we got, the stats and how bad Drew Lock is, but I don't think the Broncos go into this next season without trying to acquire an upgrade there or trying to, help Drew Lock some way in his mechanics, decision-making, football IQ, the scheme, and you're getting Sutton back. You're getting all these weapons back and all these things are factoring in, and Jerry Jeudy with his drop issues. Hopefully all this can be addressed, but we have to understand we had a very, very crazy year with the pandemic, no preparation, no training camp, et cetera, Zoom meetings. A lot of people don't try to factor that in, but these stats are going to change this year for Drew Lock, hopefully. So he's getting Sutton back. Jerry Jeudy's going into his next year. I really feel like, this offense can be a lot better if everybody's healthy, running on all cylinders. So where does Noah Fant fall into this? Now, him getting 93 targets, that to me shows that the Broncos saw that he had to step up. He had no choice but to step up in that offense. So, again, I like volume. I like targets. That's the biggest thing. He's getting the opportunities, and I can only see that happening more so than not. Now, he finished 8 games with tight end 2 numbers, which is solid. Then that's exactly what I want. 11 double-digit games as well. That's exactly what I want out of him. So he is a low-end tight end 1, a tight end 2 that you can possibly get, as the fifth, sixth, or even seventh, tight end off the board. So I definitely think Noah Fant should be targeted going into year 3. This breakout, it can happen. He can explode right now and end up, proving me wrong that he is not a tight end 8. He can end up in the top 5. Who knows? It's always up for grabs how this circus, Ferris wheel of tight end ranking. So I definitely think he'll be up there. He's definitely a guy you need to target, being that he's a solid tight end too. This is exactly what you want out of your tight end. You want a lot of double-digit games out of your tight ends. Even if it's 11 points or if it's 13 points, the man is able to put up points. That's exactly what I like. But there is an area that he's lacking, and I think that's more so on the Broncos. So 2 seasons, only 6 touchdowns. 3 this year were, basically not really, I would say, worth saying that he's a red zone target, but being that he had 6 targets in the red zone, only caught 4 of them, and only 1 of them were a touchdown. That is not something I like too much out of tight ends. He's a big body tight end. He's very athletic. And I think for the next couple of years, like 3 years from now, we're still going to be talking about Noah Fant, being a top 10 tight end. So he is definitely somebody you need to target. Just don't expect the touchdowns from him. Just don't expect, a high volume of touchdowns like a Kittle or a Waller. Actually, not Kittle. Kittle doesn't even have that many touchdowns in the red zone either. So don't think he's going to be a Waller where he's a target hog, or Jonnu Smith when he was like targeted heavy in the red zone as well. So that's the thing. Like with Noah Fant, you just got to go with volume. He's going to get the catches. He's going to get the looks. So I definitely think, the next couple of years, we're going to be talking about him as, one of the top 10, top 5, top 7 or whatever, tight end. So definitely worth the target. So now everybody's jumping on this wave. I think a lot of people have been hoping and holding on to Irv Smith. Now he is given opportunity. He finished tight end 22 last year. I got him finishing at least tight end 11. I honestly am being ambitious, optimistic about this, but I definitely think opportunity is on the table. So hear me out. Kyle Rudolph is out of the way. He's in New York. He's off doing his thing. Him and Smith were basically splitting the 105, 107 targets that the Vikings were given to their tight ends. So I definitely think now that opens up more opportunity. There's really nobody there in that tight end room or in that tight end core that I feel can take away from Irv Smith in this opportunity. If anything, they'll probably, let's say they scrape off like 20, 25 targets. That's fine. You're still looking at 80 targets. So the last couple of years, we haven't seen Kyle Rudolph, get over 50 targets since Irv Smith has been there. And the priority, like the number of targets for the Vikings have just been consistent for the last 2 years. They've been giving their tight end targets 105, 107 the last 2 years. But when Irv Smith was out of the way, we saw Kyle Rudolph finish as a top 10, top 7, even a tight end 2 in 2016. So he did that with less value, less priority in that offense, but he was still able to show production in the red zone and end zone. So that's what we got out of Smith last season, to have the 5 touchdowns. So I definitely think now with full opportunity, you have the targets, you have the talent. 2 and 2, right? Equals 4. I'm just saying, I really feel like Irv Smith is going to be a guy you need to target this year. He's going into year 3. Going into year 3, being set up for success. You are going into an offense that's a high-power offense. You got Dalvin Cook. You got Justin Jefferson. You got Adam Thielen. Like, all the pieces are there, and you're still able to have your chance to eat off that table, off that plate. So I definitely think you need to look at Irv Smith as one of the late round guys, or mid round guys, I should say, because a lot of people are building this hype train, and it's actually a real hype train, people. So it takes 3 years to develop for tight ends, and they usually hit on year 3. Being that he's going to year 3 with this setup with Kyle Rudolph out of the way, why not take your shot? Again, he could be the 7th, 8th, 9th tight end off the board. I definitely don't think people are going to be trying to reach for him in like the 5th round or the 6th round. I don't think he goes there. I really don't think people are going to take their shot there. But again, there's no interest in them probably drafting a tight end. And if they do, it'll probably be like a 7th rounder. I mean, the guys that are there, you can even name them if you wanted to. There's one guy there that's been there for 3 years. He hasn't gotten his shot. He's not going to get his opportunity this year because Irv Smith is the best tight end that they got. So again, I'm not too worried about, everybody saying like, oh, the Vikings really don't throw to their tight ends. It's not a tight end friendly offense, but they're in the middle of the pack. Their tight ends, 2 of them, split 107 targets last season. And now you're telling me that Rudolph is out of the way. There's no really backup tight end to take away those targets that can actually demand the targets. Then I don't know what to tell you, man. You're playing fantasy wrong, man. But anyway, Irv Smith is a guy you need to target into year 3. He's going to bang. He's going to. I told you, I got him finishing tight end 11 from tight end 22 that he finished last year. I think that is actually possible. If anything, he can end up being inside the top 10 if he keeps getting those touchdowns. 5 touchdowns to be splitting with Kyle Rudolph and an offense that's like mid tier when they target and prioritize their tight ends. I definitely want all smoke with that. So here's the thing with these tight ends, man. Their price ranges are all over the place. So TJ Hock being the most expensive, and then I'll probably say Noah Fant, and then the least expensive is Irv Smith. You can possibly target all 3 of these guys and make your choice there. You can probably end up on the clock and looking at all 3 of these by the time, like everybody's taking like the big 3-headed, 4-headed monster. So you're obviously, the 5th guy off the board I can see will be, TJ Hock. Now, if you miss out on Hock, you still have Fant in that mid round. You still have Irv Smith in the later rounds or mid round, et cetera, et cetera. So you really don't have to stress too much at this position, being that I think this position this year is going to be really good to get the late round guys. I didn't even talk about Logan Thomas, or Mike Gesicki or Hayden Hurst. I didn't talk about these guys because you should already know how they are in the system. Now, guys like Johnny Smith and Hunter Henry, I'm hands off. I don't want any smoke with them. So these are the 3 guys that I put at the top of my list that I can, get for expensive mid tier and to the lowest. So I definitely think, these 3 guys can help you guys bring home the gold, and you could really get your bang for your buck. So hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a comment below on what you guys think of the episode, and I'll see you guys next week for another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Peace.